Hey, welcome as you're coming in, guys. All right. So now that we're on Friday here, I'll say the most important thing to look at is definitely going to be the price. So at the moment here, okay, we can see that the price has formed a bearish leg to itself and the price is pulling back. All right. So if I go to the D1 here, you guys are going to see this a lot better. So again, this supply zone is very important because this supply zone is the supply zones responsible for the price drop from 56.8K all the way down to the lowest point, which is 29K. So from 56 to 29, that is the drop that we've had. Now, the next part here with this A to B swing now, once we broke past this area and return, we had a new all-time high. So this demand supply zone is a very important area that the price is providing for us. So when I look at the liquidity patterns in the market now, on-chain data is another important factor as to what the price is doing. And this supply zone specifically is going to be very important even for the future. Now, again, we had the longest standing all-time high apart in this bull cycle, to be specific. All right, we've had, as the market was making higher highs, they became all-time highs, but the longest standing one was where we are here, which is around about 64. Okay. Now, this is the longest standing because the price was, that was the highest price point that Bitcoin had done for about 6 months, 6 to 7 months. So from April to November, okay, or mid-October kind of instead. So I would say 6 months. Now, from that point, we had a body close above this area here, which is a very important sign in terms of liquidity patterns. The price gave us a very clear sign that the order flow is still towards the bullish side of the market, which it should be because of different factors, you know, of what make Bitcoin Bitcoin. But nonetheless, this body close here with a new all-time high was a very clear indicator of what the price is trying to do. Now, when the price pulled back here, we have a bear trap sort of. I'm sure institutions did buy on the dip and other governments probably secretly. Who knows? The only issue with this is that because there was such, now this new all-time high, you have to understand the psychology of the market here. And at this point, or at this time period, Bitcoin, you know, when we were in this phase right here, when the price was around 29, it was as though all hope was lost in that sense, you know. Now that Bitcoin kind of reached here, we got to the point where Bitcoin was at 50. Then we had Bitcoin Day, as we call it, when El Salvador legally started to accept Bitcoin as legal tender. That drop happened on the exact same day it was announced. We had a sell-off here to 39. And then we've risen ever since. So when Bitcoin made a new all-time high, psychologically speaking, a lot of people who were put off of crypto, maybe they bought at the high points in the market or just in general, even in the news, the whole world's attention is going to be, oh my God, Bitcoin just closed with a new all-time high. This thing is really going to go very strongly long. And not too long after, we see that the price cycles even higher. Now, whenever these kind of price action movements happen at the moment, there is always unfulfilled efficiencies that can happen in the price, which means that demand isn't fully filled out. So not all the orders get filled out as they should, and supply also. Now, this demand order block, which is a very important one, is a strategic one because it's a D1 demand zone nested within supply. This movement that we've had here from A to B, okay, on the pullback at C, which is what we are expecting, we didn't get a return back into demand. Therefore, the movement we're seeing here, a lot of this money in this market here is probably not institutional at all. Now, what drives the market or drives assets to really do some serious price points, all right, to a certain degree is going to be institution. Okay, now, of course, there are going to be people FOMO in, because if Bitcoin makes a new all-time high and pulls back, you're going to want to buy because you even got it cheaper and you know it's going to rally. Now, I was expecting a wick close, but what we've had instead is a body close. But we've had a reversal signature here and price is reversing. And again, my expectation is the price to pull back one more time to this area of demand, a very highly liquid area, a lot of congestion in the price here. And I expect the price to get back down to around about 56 to 55K. From this launching point, I expect the price to make its way to 70 very easily, and even more than that. So really, when I look at the price action from here, unless there's a body close beneath this whole price structure here, we should be seeing a very strong long, which means for the crypto markets, guys, you really should be looking to want to look for pullbacks on altcoins. Okay, now some altcoins are doing their own thing. They have their own fundamentals that, you know, are attached to what's going on. So that's, if they continue to rally, okay, whilst Bitcoin is going short and even Ethereum is going short, then they have their own fundamentals. So for example, when Bitcoin made, you know, this massive drop all the way to 29K, that's the same time that Matic, I think it did 100% or 187% during that same time. So it went from the pennies to the dollar mark and then a bit more than that. So there are still going to be extenuating factors which are outside of, you know, Bitcoin's market cap having a heavy effect on the price, and also Ethereum to some degree. So even then, in general, I expect crypto markets to pull back and give us, you know, some shorting. All right. At the moment, also from the CPI standpoint, for those of you who are not too familiar with that, the consumer price index, we've had a massive increase in inflation. Okay. So the dollar has gained some strength across all currencies. All right. Japanese yen pairs and etc. So now Bitcoin is a hedge against inflation. And so it may not see the strongest, you won't see the strongest reaction of the dollar against it. Rather, you see money go into it because of the economic system and incentive that Bitcoin provides as a hedge against inflation. However, from a price point range, if the dollar gains some strength, that can also help to push this price down to where it needs to be. Now, this means that in essence, you have the last chance, guys, to pull crypto prices at a cheaper price point. When the price gets here, of course, it will set some panic off because most people still don't know about the market. And so when they see the price pushing short, some people are going to want to sell, which will cause probably a spike in the price. And that really should be the entry for you to buy. Now, Warren Buffett says, and I love this quote, that when people are afraid to buy something, that's the time you should be buying. And when people are afraid to sell, or people or everybody wants something, that's the time you should sell it. If nobody wants it, you should buy it. And when everybody wants it, you should sell it. That's one of the market economics 101, that very simple, but very important. So we will see some sell-off. And as the price drops, you know, people that have come into the market faint-heartedly and just looking for a quick return, most likely they're going to sell or start to sell off on other cryptos and altcoins. And because their market cap is a lot smaller, if you can see the picture here, you'll be able to get some good prices, maybe a 30% here off or 20%, even just a 10 or 5, so that you can load up a bit more. Now, this is not financial advice. This is just what I would do. So I want to see what the price does when it gets back down to this point. And if we have a stable reaction here and we form another swing, then I expect the price to be rallying towards 70. And this will be a very good point for us to see how we can move forward from here. So in essence, looking at Bitcoin, this is what I expect the price to do. And what I'm going to do, let's switch over and have a look at some cryptocurrencies. I have markings already, but let's just keep this fresh. Let's see what else the market has to offer. So I'm pulling my Bitcoin here to the side. Now, for me, because I trade crypto, I do like to use Hugo's Way, because Hugo's Way has very good leverage and is very easy to use, you know, on that standpoint. So I like to definitely use it. Okay, I know you can trade on Binance as well. The leverage is still great, but I prefer to trade on more active basis than on futures markets. That's just for me. But anyway, so let's have a look at what we've had. So you can see already from the short drop that Bitcoin has done, many other cryptocurrencies are following suit. We've seen Cardano go all the way up to $2.37 and drop back down to $1.93 not too long after. So you can see that Bitcoin still has a major effect on the prices of altcoins a lot more. And this drop from, you know, 237 down to 193. We're looking at about, I think, at least 10 to 15, not even 10, more than that, about 15 to 20% roughly. So that's a good little discount if you were trying to buy some Cardano. Now, if you look at the price structure again, to recap over this aspect here. So if I draw this demand zone right here, I'm going to draw this demand zone right here. We have this higher high formation here. But the only problem is, again, whenever there's a massive amount of hype, and every crypto project gets its own, every crypto project gets its own cycle of hype. Now, there was a time where everybody's eyes was on Cardano because we had this exponential burst from above $1 here all the way to $3 in a very short space of time. So there's a lot of FOMO buying at higher prices, okay? And so this FOMO buying creates inefficiencies on the price. Now, there's still institutional investment, I would say at least in the top 1 to 200 cryptos, but probably they buy off-chain, or not off-chain in that sense, but basically OTC. So they don't buy on an exchange, so just not to affect the price. But some others or large institutions, but they're large but not that large, probably buy on exchanges, but they probably didn't buy anything from here. Now, because we had unfulfilled efficiency here, now this area here is a demand zone. So we're on the D1, so that's D1 demand right here. And put that in. So that D1 demand zone that we've seen here, the crash that we saw in price recently, or at the end of October, the price actually used it to fill out efficiency. So this is what I mean when people are afraid, you should be looking to buy, because most people seeing this massive red candle be thinking it's time to sell, when actually it's time to buy. Now, you may have not known about the market inefficiency here. And if you want to know about on-chain data without actually looking at on-chain data, you will definitely need to understand supply and demand to higher degrees. But moving forward from here, as I was saying to some of you all, right now, when you look at the price action of Cardano from a retail trader perspective, most retail traders can definitely see this trend line and also this kind of triangle forming here. I'm sure most of retail traders who trade in this way. Now, I don't trade, as a disclaimer, with any of these patterns or trend lines. Is not needed to understand the specifics of the market. The market algorithm is actually trained to do the opposite. So, for example, in this case, this triangle here, the price was supposed to break above and close here. But notice the wick of the candle closes here, but then price still shoots down a bit further. So if you were trading this triangle, then your entry would have kind of stopped you out if you were trading this, not if you were buying or selling. But as an investor, you still need to know these things. So this return here, we have a break of market structure of this swing high, for example, here. And so the price is poised to go long again. And again, I'm looking for unfulfilled efficiency to be filled out on the short side, back up to around about here. I expect the price to definitely take this high. So looking at the price here, I would expect to see the market give us an entry in demand somewhere around here, or even pull back down to this area. And if the price holds, now remember, or if you haven't heard me speak before, there is a liquidity gap. Okay, now the price feed, if you're wondering, where does this price feed come from? The price feed for Hugo's Way comes from Bitfinex. Okay, so if you want to check these charts or follow these charts out on TradingView, you can do, and you can choose the Bitfinex version of ADM, excuse me, I was going to say AUD, thinking about the Australian dollar, ADA versus the US dollar, or USDT, which should be very, very similar. But there's a liquidity gap on my chart at $1.60, which is understandable because there's a lot of buying pressure here. The directionality of the price here is almost a straight line, which means very high amounts of liquidity and volume. So of course, gaps can be left as the price is making its way there. So if the price breaks beneath here, then it would pull back down here and even lower. But for now, this demand zone is holding the price at the moment. And if it gets back here, then we could see another rally or somewhere in this region. So I'm expecting the price to get back to $2.88, 89 before possibly heading off, and from the looks of things pushing right here. Now, this triangle pattern hasn't worked out, and I'm not a triangle pattern trader in the first place, but from a retail trader perspective, a lot of people have their eyes on a buy, and that this spike up movement here before the return, a lot of people who were trading Cardano probably got stopped out. And the markets are designed that way, guys, to stop you from making money from trading or even investing. So for me, a buy point around this region at $2, which is also a psychological level because it's a round number, would be a good point to be looking to probably grab some more movement on the long side if you're a trader or if you're investing, possibly. Okay. So looking at ADA, this is another aspect of, why I expect the price to do something good. Now, because Bitcoin still has a way to go, and you can see the price is pushing short, I'm still thinking about Cardano and what it could do. So that demand zone, which I just pulled up over here, let me just grab it back. I have a lot of charts here that I haven't deleted. You know, the price may pull back short, maybe lower, or just hang around here. It depends. But I'd say keep your eyes on here. If you see the price breaking beneath here, then hold back a little bit and wait for the price to drop between these two ranges, 128, 160. Okay. And let's see what the price does. Now I want to look at ETH as well. So I'm going to look at ETH for you guys. Let's have a look at what's going on. Now ETH of mine should be down around about here. Here we go. So ETH, pop this up for you guys. So ETH also is taking a short dive down as well, which is understandable. At the moment, I mean, it's almost like clockwork to a certain degree. If you think about the speech right now, everybody's looking at Ethereum for the next 5K mark and the price is falling just shy of it. So sooner or later, the price is going to reach that 5K mark. Now, again, psychologically speaking, every time the price is approaching a new round number level, now round numbers are just figures like, for example, 5K, 4K, 3K, things like that. But every time the price is approaching one of those new levels, we get this pattern here where the price falls just shy of it. So right now we got just shy of 5K by about $145 from my chart. We almost got to 5K, but then the price magically decided to sell off before, you know, getting there. But every time the price crosses a barrier, and I can show you this if I go to the H4 and I was to find you the first time we got to 4K. So once we got to 4K, which is around about here, and this is a bit of an extreme example because the market did quite a massive drop, about 63%. But once we got to 4K, not too long after, you notice the price crashed down again. All right. And then once we get to 4K again, notice again, price crashed down here. So every round number level is like a psychological barrier because once the price breaks there, it triggers a few emotions from traders, and it also triggers different reactions from institutional level money. Okay, institutional level money is thinking about dollar cost averaging and different things of that nature, possibly what the next reactions are going to be. Retail traders who want more Ethereum or want to sell their Ethereum, well, it depends, mainly want to buy Ethereum, would be thinking, well, it's just crossed 4K. I need to get in. If it gets anywhere past 4K, it's going to go to the moon, you know, and you could see twice the price got there. So if I was to put 3K out, which is around about here. So the first time the price got to 3K, around about here, we had an exponential move here. We've cleared that, but the price came straight back beneath it. But notice that the price, when we were in this cycle, and if you followed me on YouTube, you will know this, that when we got to this area here, just beneath 3K, there was a lot of activity of the price bouncing just beneath it. So we got close to 3K, then the price will pull back. They got close to 3K, then the price will pull back. Then all of a sudden, the price decided to short more. So the price really struggled to get here. And then when the price was making its way back, where did it land on? 3K again. Now, it's not magic, but this is just really how the market is. These round number levels are kind of like signposts on the direction or of the price, and everybody reacts to them differently, but that culmination of reaction gives us this price action we see. So here's 2K, guys. Look at 2K. So if I go to 2K right now, and you see what the price did, bounced on here for quite a while during April, then took off from here, then got to 3K, then so you can see the reaction happening. And this also happens in the hundreds as well also. So when the price gets to $100, $200, you know, when it breaks those kind of barriers, that's what happens. So I expect at 5K probably for the same thing to happen where the price shoots just a bit over, then it might pull back some bits and then off we go again. So looking at Ethereum here, there is a wide range of price points that the price could get to. If I use the D1 for a moment, I notice here that we have a bit of unfulfilled efficiency here on this last leg of movement. All right. Now, Ethereum is definitely going to do well. I think almost every single ETH is staked at this point. I don't know that for a fact, but it's very lucrative to stake at the moment is what I'm saying. But anyway, when we look at ETH here, the wick of the candle didn't return to demand here. So even though the price is pushed long, I'm sure the market order book will be looking to seek out the next area of demand to continue, which is around about 4,300. If the price drops any lower, then I expect it to probably go back to this 4K mark. We have a D1 supply zone here, which I expect the price to flip that zone and give us, you know, some more activity. The price may even decide to either pull down here. Now, because there's a lot of bullish activity, high network activity, even higher than Bitcoin, you know, and in terms of volume and trading and all of these things, Ethereum may pull back a lot sooner and just start to take off, or in essence, the discount on price won't be that high as you might get on some other altcoin. All right. If the price continues to drop further, then I'll look for the price to get back to this area here, you know, and then kind of take off. So within this range, and then before you know, we'll get to 5K, then 6, then 7, then 10. That's how it works. Now, for those of you who have been in crypto for a little while now, the bull cycle that we've all been waiting for mathematically has been delayed. If you do the math using the golden bull cycle ratio, mathematically, the price or the movements we're seeing in the market has been delayed by 2 months, or let's just say 1 month, 3 weeks, in about 16 days, something like that on average. So looking at what we've seen with the market so far, the market seems to be resembling more of like a 2017 market, where in December to January, you just get those exponential movements. So for those of you who are looking for the main gains or the quick flips, which I don't advise to stay, I advise it being there for the long term, the exponential movement hasn't started yet. The exponential FOMO movement, which is what it really is most of the time, is going to come near right at the end. Okay. Right now, the market is still just, the liquidity is building, volumes building, and then it's going to get to a point where things pop, and they pop quickly. So as you can see from history here, if I go to the weekly, all right, every cycle we've seen in the price, right, back even down here, the last movement, so in this case, we're on the weekly, the last 3 weeks is really where we saw the massive move, and not too long after the price shuts down, which is from the last bull cycle here, 2018. All right. So in about 3 weeks near the end, so the market starts to make its way up gradually like it is now. The last 3 weeks is where we see, you know, the major movement. So it's not there yet. Now there's lots of bullish candles here and price looks good, but this is really what we're seeing right now at the moment. So I would say to keep your eyes peeled and look for the discounts that you can on the price. Now, the last one I'm going to look at for you guys is XRP. Now, XRP, because of what's happened with it, you know what, I'll go for Solana first, and then I'll come back to XRP because it's an important point. So with Solana here, it's also taken a dip in price. The market has started with a reversal signature this week, and the price is still shorting. So to me, I mean, I expect the price to give us some sort of shorting. There is an opportunity on Solana I'm seeing with the market order books, which if the price does what I do think it's going to do, then that will be a very beautiful sign. But for now, Solana is just making a natural return back. Now, I like the price action of how Solana looks. It's had massive gains. For me, there are lower levels of demand. Now, because Solana is a cryptocurrency in the hundreds now, I mean, some of the psychological levels you could think about would be number one, the all-time highs. If I draw these two lines out here, also $200 is something else to think about, because you have to remember people are dollar cost averaging into this. So round figures are going to be important. So $200 mark is here. And to be honest, if you look at this carefully, you see that demand is also here. We have one larger demand and also a smaller demand zone just before the new start to the new month here. So there's quite a strong area of demand around $200. And so if the price pulls down here, that could be another rebuy. I think the price is confirming that a bit better, because if you look at this D1 supply right here, price has broken above this area and returned back to the other side. And we've had a long here. So this reoptimization of supply for demand is a nice clean barrier. So if the price gets anywhere beneath 200, it should come back right here. And if it drops any lower, it will be to the next available areas of demand. So Solana is a fantastic project and it's gained a lot of traction, especially this year, hence the price change. But I'm expecting something of a bullish leg of an A to B swing and then C down here, maybe 197. And then before we know, new all-time high again. Now, where Solana could go, I mean, it's a lot of questions about that, but one thing I can say about Solana is done well and it's going to do well. All right. So I'll finish off here with XRP. So XRP has been an interesting one. Price has been very volatile. Now, this is one reason why I like Hugo's Way, because it doesn't have any incentive in not showing you the full price feed. There's some brokers that I'm sure that they hide liquidity gaps for you to see it and fill it out because they don't want you to see gaps in the market and stuff, you know, because they have intents to, you know, that are negative. But what you can see here is that when the price was rallying, and I did take notes of this from an investment and a trading side, there was a liquidity gap that the market formed here around 1.15 to 1.1. It's about 1.15 again, 1.158, somewhere around there. Now, this liquidity gap, I knew the market would find a way to fill it. And lo and behold, the price dropped from where it was. It took a very strong long move. And then we've had the gap filled out here. And we've had the price wick to, you know, these areas of demand across here. Now we have a supply zone here that the price has flipped for demand. Quite a beautiful one, actually, which is above $1.10 or around about $1.10. Price has spiked into here for a second time. And the nested D1, or in this case, H1, demand, price has dropped into here quite cleanly. Okay, so we have an area of demand that the price has kind of spiked into. We had some bullish activity, a few bull candles in a row, so about $1.25, literally $1.25 on the dot. All right, and then you see the price descending again. So we're watching now with the price of Ripple is probably one of the only top 10 cryptos right now on the leaderboard in terms of, when I say top 10, I mean top 10 in market cap. Okay, across most, you know, crypto websites, for example, CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, Ripple's still the top 10. I actually believe it should be like probably 7 right now. And we'll go and have a look to end off here to see what's going on. Yeah, Ripple is 7. It is number 7. All right, memory served me well this time. So it's probably the only crypto that we know of right now that hasn't even reached this all-time high, or at least doubled it. Okay. Now the all-time high for Ripple. Now the only thing is on the monthly, if you use Hugo's Way or you choose to download it, the all-time high doesn't show up properly. You have to use the weekly. On the weekly, the proper all-time high shows here, which is about $3.20, $3.27. All right. So again, from the last bull cycle here, Ripple had an amazing, literally no pun intended, the price really rippled through the charts. You know, near the end here, we see that the price went from 20 cents, and this is the 10th of December, all the way to $3.30, or let's call it $3.30 in the same month, around about just before Christmas. So in 17 days, it did 1,000, if I'm served correctly, yeah, times 10 times another 5. So about 16x or 16, yes, 16x or 16 times your money in 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. Okay, so this is what I mean about the bull cycle. This is it. You have this initial gradual movement and then things just go crazy for the last couple of weeks, you know? Kind of like, that's why crypto is more of a marathon than a sprint. If you're looking for the sprint, you might get caught at the top here and the price drops on you. You don't want that. Now, since that period, we've never been able to get back to that price point or even close to it for quite a little while. Whereas many other cryptos have done that. Some have done, you know, at least Bitcoin has at least done 2.5 to 3 times, you know, the previous all-time high, which was $20,000. Some exchanges say $19,000, 800. So if you times that by 3, it's just above 60. And right now, Bitcoin is about 67 at the best, 68 actually. So it's done 3 times. Cardano has done many times more than its previous all-time high. It's done 2x at least, because the last all-time high was $1.33. Now it's new one is about $3.03. So about 2x. So in essence, every crypto in the top 10 that has a huge market cap, all right, has in essence been able to break and sustain a new all-time high for at least a short period of time. Ripple hasn't, and it's because of the SEC case. Now, because of the anticipation around it and what the verdict will be, because that will determine whether XRP goes to zero or if XRP goes to something like $30 because of the sheer anticipation. So looking at the price action at this point is important because the price action tells you where money is flowing in the market, but foundationally, the fundamentals is going to be the overall driving factor. No matter what trend line you see, no matter how many demand or supply order blocks you find, if they don't win the case, the price will go to zero. Okay. But if they do win the case, aided with technical analysis and very good technical analysis, you could really get some serious gains. Now, I like to trade Ripple a lot because Ripple has really, really good risk to reward. And it's quite cheap to trade on Hugo's way. I believe 0.01 lots, if I'm stand corrected. Let me double check here. As it only costs £8.74 or $8.74 for the margin, and you can get some really good gains. And I have already got some really good gains. If you have it on my Insta, you see my story from this. So at the moment, price has spiked into supply. This is where we are on the D1. And from the D1 perspective here, even though we have a supply zone up here, we have a demand flip zone, which is where price is operating from. This demand zone, which was responsible for this movement up here, price has flipped that zone and used it for supply. How you can tell this is because if I deleted this area, notice that the price gets into this area, which was the same time as Bitcoin day, and then price dropped down to here about 84. Now the price has risen here. And if you're wondering why the price stopped here, I'll just mark it out for you so you can see. Price has risen here because of supply. So if I draw this supply zone area here, there's a supply zone that the price is operating with. This return on the other side to supply has triggered somewhat of a bullish movement, not the cleanest. I would say that there's still quite clear signs of bearish activity because when the price is pushing short, the bodies of the candles are quite thick. When the price is pushing long, apart from these areas here, we have pockets of bullish activity and bearish. So if from a sentiment, it's very mixed signals right now. Some people are very bullish on XRP religiously and just fundamentally, and then others are, on the opposite side, that they actually think that Ripple's dead now and it's going to go to zero. Now, from a technical standpoint, what I'm really looking for is for the next major high that we've seen form to be able to be broken. And I would expect the price, if the price does this from where it is, I'll look for the price to break above here and return to the other side. So in essence, a reoptimization for demand as its original use will be a very nice structure on our way towards at least the $2 mark. Okay, that's what I'll be looking for right about here. Now, taking it a step further, looking at the price here and what I've shown you, we're still in a range. Well, it's still in range for the price to definitely do a long, but it just depends on what the outcome of, the next couple of days will be. So in terms of buying, I think if you believe in Ripple, okay, and I'm trying to be non-biased here, and I'm not sharing whether I believe in Ripple, but I'm just saying if you believe in Ripple, then you want a dollar cost average to make sure you're loading up, because if Ripple pops as it's supposed to, I think because of the sheer anticipation and delay, I feel like when it comes to XRP in general, the level of anticipation that has been around this crypto, the amount of news coverage, just the amount of attraction and to the project and attention, I'll say traction instead of attraction, XRP has. I think the actual case itself, first of all, for those of you who don't know, is whether it's an argument by the SEC whether XRP is a security or not. Because if it's a security, then it's broken the law on so many levels as to operating as a security. Now, if Ripple's classed as not a security and they win the case, then that's a major defeat for the SEC. But what I believe that can bring is an open door for a major adoption, because if a crypto project like XRP, which is still large, but not, like 20% of the world large kind of thing, or is in every country kind of large, then it will also open up the door for many other skeptics, in legacy finance and different things like that, to open up to crypto as a whole. Okay. And so this win for XRP will be a win for the entire crypto space. And I believe the entire market that day, if they win the case, will go absolutely crazy. That might actually be the trigger for the final rounds of the bull cycle, you know. So this is one of those things that, you know, XRP is one of those risk to rewards where if it goes to zero, but you held on to your XRP, you know, it's fair play, you took a loss. But if this thing rallies, because of the sheer delay and the amount of FOMO that will happen, because I can assure you many people may be staying out of the market, but if they hold an XRP, they possibly are just waiting for that moment just to hear the confirmation of the news, and they're just going to buy and get out, in and out. You understand? So that news could send Ripple flying. It could get to 10, 20, $30 just out of anticipation. That doesn't mean that that market cap will be stable, you know, because many people will be looking to get out because they've been holding for a while and they don't know when the next pump is coming and stuff. But others, you know, will be, you know, on the sidelines just waiting. So this is why XRP is a very important crypto right now, and where they are is a very crypto important, if you want to put it that way. So I hope you guys enjoyed that analysis. Make sure you put a like, share some comments, hit me up, and play this back as many times as possible. I hope you guys enjoy your Friday. Everybody be blessed, and I'm out. Take care.